Welcome back to the Gray Escape. This time, we're continuing where we left off with the shower build. We'll be tiling the floors and finishing up the walls. Let's go! Good morning. So this is the window where my shower is. And here we are underneath the bus. So the drain is gonna have to go somewhere right about here. And the tank is gonna have to go right here, which is directly beneath the plumbing closet, which will be advantageous. This here does get in the way a little bit, so I think I can just unscrew this and kind of scoot this over and attach it to these. This one's come unhooked apparently. But I can probably just stick that one over in here and it shouldn't change anything. And that way I will have the free space to mount my tank, which takes up literally this whole space all the way down to the bottom of the skirt. But there's no other way to mount it because I can't really do anything over here or it'll block these fans, which, you know, that system isn't working anyway right now, but it might be in the future, so don't want to block it off. And that's about it for right now. I've got to take a drill and just pop it up through the floor and hope that I'm in the right spot. This is a 2-inch hole saw. I'm going to drill a 1/4-inch pilot hole first to make sure that it comes up in the right spot. So I tried, but there was no way to get a drill into where I needed to drill, so I had to just measure a kajillion times and then cut from the top. This was the first hole I drilled. It was too close to one of the support beams, so I measured and I was like, okay, I gotta move it a 1/2 inch. And so I moved it a 1/2 inch this way, and then I was like, well, I want it to be even, so I also moved it a 1/2 inch this way. Drilled that, went under there and realized I went the wrong way, and I had to do a 1/2 inch this way and a 1/2 inch this way to make it even. So now this hole here is in the correct spot, and I can go ahead and drill my 2-inch hole from the top. This hole will be outside of that 2 inches, I think, so I'm gonna have to fill this back in and seal that watertight before I go ahead and tile the surrounding area. Well, that's not good. My 2-inch hole saw just broke. Well, my dad's 2-inch hole saw. So now I gotta buy a new one. All right, I got a new hole saw and drilled a hole. Let's see if the drain fits in here. So we went ahead and siliconed around the rim of this, dropped it through the floor, and screwed the tailpipe on from underneath the bus. Now we get to cut our tile. These are the tiles that I'm going to be using. They're a little bit lighter in person than they look on camera here, but they're really cool little mosaic hexagon tiles. I like them a lot. I think they're going to look great in the space. First thing that we need to do is cut these tips off and these in half so that we have a corner piece. And I'm going to start with the most difficult piece, which is the one in this front corner here, because once I get the edges cut, I'm going to have to measure and cut out for the drain. So that's going to be the most challenging piece. And once I have that done, I'm going to pre-cut and lay everything in there before I even start mixing up my cement. So I've set up this contraption here. It's just a piece of plywood to protect my table from my angle grinder, and then a 2x2 across the top with clamps holding it all together, and that's just to keep this from moving. I'm not using it as a guide or anything. I'm just going to cut these straight across as good as I can, and we'll see what happens. So I'm very much making a giant mess of this. This is not an acceptable result. I'm gonna have to find another way to do this. Okay, so I have found a solution to hide my sins, and this way I don't have to go get a tile saw. I did try to rent a small tile saw today, and the one that they had at the local Home Depot was currently being checked out by a different customer. So since I don't know how long they'll have it, I don't want to go running all over town trying to find one. I've been just trying to use this angle grinder over here. I'm not incredibly good at it, and the results are not ideal. This is some FRP corner trim. If I use this at the bottom of the walls, it will more than cover all my sins. So I'm thinking about doing that, and just at the bottom of the FRP, putting this in there. This channel goes nowhere, so if water gets in it, it's not that big of a deal. And so that should take care of the problem. And I'll probably seal this to the floor with some caulking. And that should take care of that. So I started cutting out this circle. I drew it with a pencil and started cutting it out. The tile is kind of angled down at the edges, so that's why the edges don't look like they're marked. But I've barely made a little bit of a divot in this, and I'm terrified that if I go any farther, I'm going to get chips like that. And this is where the drain is going to be. There's no covering this. This is exposed, so I'm not quite sure what to do here, aside from maybe pull these tiles out and work on them individually. I'm not quite sure what I want to do with that. We'll see. So I separated this one out and tried to cut in along that line that I scored, and of course I broke the tile. So I went back over here and scored a little bit more because, you know, I either have to learn how to do it, or, you know, this tile might go to waste. It is what it is. If I have to go buy one more tile, I have to go buy one more tile. But I scored these a little bit deeper now, very carefully. Not real happy about that one white chip there, but aside from that, it's not terrible. So I'm actually going to try to knock off the pieces and hope that that works.
As time goes by. It's been a long time. Some of the old songs. For old time's sake. As time goes by. It's been a long time. Some of the old songs. For old time's sake. As time goes by. It's been a long time. For old time's sake.
I don't know what you mean, Miss Elsa.
right, so we're looking pretty good so far. So the only things left to do are this back wall here, around the window, this part right here, and then the ceiling. So for the ceiling, since this and this are a different material and I didn't want to have to do a million transitions like before, I just put one rail here and one rail up here. This one hangs over just enough to cover the FRP that I'm going to use to skin the inside of the window. And I ran out of FRP board, and I thought maybe that I could just use a couple of pieces. It just kind of doesn't look great. So off to the store I go. Alright guys, we are done skinning the bathroom. Looks really good. We do have to caulk it, but I mean, these tolerances are pretty tight. Look at this, it's so close. And I'm gonna put some edge trim right there, some outside corner trim to clean that up. And I don't care that much about back in here, it's really not gonna get that wet, but I'm gonna caulk all the edges obviously, and it'll look much, much nicer in there. So, that's it guys. I'm very, very happy with this. So it turns out that there's a lot more footage of the shower build than I thought there was. So we're gonna have to continue on with the shower build next week. Stay tuned if you wanna see the rest of it. In the meantime, thank you guys so much for watching. Like it if you liked it, subscribe if you wanna see more, and we'll catch you next time on The Gray Escape.